Thanks very much, Tracy. And thanks everybody for being here. I'm excited to talk to you a little bit about what's happening in the workplace ministry, what we've been doing in this year and what we've got planned for 2021, which is pretty exciting. And we too, the branding, the process of going through branding has been great for us to kind of look at what is it that we're trying to do for leaders and also employees that may not have positional leadership, but can take some spiritual leadership in their workplaces. So we took the overall One Way Ministries branding statement and looked at what is it for the workplace. And I think there's a slide on this if somebody wants to bring it up. And it's whether you're leading in the public or private sector, living out your faith in the workplace can be challenging and lonely. One Way Ministries engages Ottawa's workplace leaders to deepen their faith, build authentic relationships with true peers, and to discern and live out their calling in their spheres of influence. So if I take all those words and try to summarize it in an essence, it really is our heart is to have a city full of Christ followers that are both comfortable and confident taking their faith to work and using it to make their workplaces better, stronger, and frankly, more kingdom-oriented, no matter where they are in the organization. And really the vision is we have 1 million people in Ottawa, believe it or not now, and about 500,000 of them are engaged in the workplace, either full or part-time. And we estimate that somewhere between 50,000 and 100,000 are Christians. And so they go to a workplace and engage with colleagues and customers every day. And this means that every interaction that they have, like every relationship that they build, every decision that they make presents a potential opportunity to be God's hands and feet and building his kingdom here in Ottawa. But many people don't think that they can take their faith to work. They're what I sometimes call submarine Christians. They surface on Sunday and then go back underwater Monday to Friday. And we want to change that. So just imagine for a moment that what our workplaces and our city would be like if all of these people lived out their faith, not just in their church communities and in their families and in their neighborhoods, but also in their workplaces. So that's really where we're headed. And in 2021, we've kind of done a little bit of a soft launch, but we're launching what we're calling the One Way Ministries Workplace Network. And it's going to be a place for members to be connected with each other, to develop relationships, to deepen their faith together, and to learn from other Christians who share this vision. And the mission really is to inspire and support and encourage Christians in the workplace to join together. And I'm just going to tell you a very small story of, I met a young leader probably about 18 months ago, I guess. And he worked in a big company in Ottawa, a marketplace company. And he said to me, you know, when I was in university, I was taught to go and evangelize. And I did that in university, but I don't know what that looks like in my workplace. I can't do it the way I was taught in university. It's not me. It's not what I'm comfortable with. And I need to think about, how do I do this? And what does taking my faith to work in this big secular company look like? And I had a conversation with him a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about how his vision of what that was like evolved and what did that look like for him. And this is what he explained. He said, first of all, he said, how I show up at work. Is my character Christ-like in every interaction that I have? And do people see Christ in me? Or do I respond like everybody else in my workplace? And he says, I try to bring love. Like I look for people who are hurting in my workplace, either because they have too much work to do or something's going on in their family. And I try to meet them with love. And he said, I look for opportunities to pray for my colleagues or their families. If they've got a child that's sick, I offer to pray with and for them. And he said, because I'm doing this, people are asking me what's behind why I'm different. And he says, then that opens the door for me to share my faith and have really deep conversations. So that's like, wouldn't it be great if everybody took that and other ways to personalize for themselves, giving the gifts that they've been given and God's given them in the nature of the workplaces, that they could take their faith to work. So that's what we're trying to encourage. So just a couple of things that have been happening and are going to happen. And the first thing that I want to say is what I'm probably most excited with, because it helps as we look to the future, is we've expanded the workplace ministry team. And so as we're working on the vision for what this would be like going forward, Johan van der Merwe, who's on this call tonight, who's a marketplace leader, he came alongside me and said, hey, I can help. I've got some time and I can help. And he's been this most amazing gift from God, not only hands and feet, but I call him, he's put the wind in the sails to help us take this vision and flesh it out a little bit more. So I really appreciate him and thank God for him. And then as the vision of the workplace network and this vision of, maybe 100,000 people taking their faith to work started taking shape, Doug Sprent came and said, well, I want to be part of this. It's a natural part for me. And he's going to talk after me and share, because he already ministers to people in the marketplace and also to pastors, and just a natural. So the three of us are meeting weekly, kind of as the operational team, and putting plans in place for 2021. And we're just praying as we enter to 2021, more people will join us, either on our team or in an advisory capacity to support this bigger vision. So the other thing is, starting just at the beginning of COVID in March, we started a weekly newsletter that has gone to business owners and business leaders. And in it, it's got kind of a blog and information on some upcoming events that are being run often by other ministries, but that are of interest to people in the workplace. And it has a really, really high open rate. And so we're really happy with that. But our goal for 2001 is to expand the communication we have beyond business owners and leaders to a broader group of people in the workplace. So that will start early in 2021, and we're working on the strategy for that now. We also sent out through that newsletter to ask business leaders and business owners whether there were people interested in starting the week in prayer. And so we have a prayer call every Monday morning from 8 to 8:45. And Johan van der Merwe also facilitates this call. And there's usually about 10 people every Monday morning sharing, and we pray for what's going on in their life and maybe for their family, and what's going on in their workplace, something that's happening in their business. Either it may be a prayer of praise or a prayer request. And again, our vision for 2021 is that we will be able to plant more of these prayer groups in more workplaces, or where more people will get together across workplaces, whether it's weekly or monthly, just to meet together in prayer. And we do know there's other people outside of what we're doing at One Way who are meeting weekly to pray, and it's fantastic. And it doesn't really matter where these people come from and who's leading them, but if we could just have, hundreds and thousands of people in the workplace meeting every single week with others to pray, that would be part of our vision. The other thing that we tried in June, and some of you may know this, is I said to Doug Sprent, what if we try a virtual retreat? Would you facilitate a virtual retreat? And we're going to put it out to business leaders and see how many people will sign up. So in June, we called it a date with God. And in June, we had our first virtual retreat. And I think there were 10 people who participated. And it was just a beautiful day that went from 8 till 3 o'clock. And Doug led them in some exercises and in listening prayer, teaching about listening prayer. And then people went away in 4 different periods during the day for some time with the Lord. And then we will come back and share in small groups. And the feedback was excellent. So we did another one in September and had about the same number of participants. And again, the feedback was just so positive that it was a great time for people. So 2001, we're going to offer them quarterly in a virtual retreat to an expanded audience. And hopefully COVID will be over sometime before the end of 2021, and we could offer an in-person 22 hours of prayer or some other kind of retreat. So that's part of our plan. And then just two other things that I will mention, or maybe three, is, as Mark mentioned, through church renewal, there are a number of groups across Canada meeting to go through this discipleship process called the Way. And there are a number of marketplace groups, and a number of them in Ottawa. And there are other ministries like Solely Business and others that have been encouraging participation in these. And we have encouraged participation through our network to people in the marketplace and business leaders. And I know there's a couple of people on this call that are engaged in groups. And I'm in one of the marketplace groups as well. And they're just really deep and wonderful processes. And so we really want to encourage even more people to participate in 2021. And hopefully out of that, we'll find more leaders from Ottawa that would want to lead some of these discipleship processes. And then the other thing is, and Sarah might talk a little bit more about City on Our Knees, or she will, but our first kind of big event in 2021 will be on January 20th. And the Workplace Network is hosting a prayer summit to start the year in prayer for our workplaces. Our first email on that went out today to quite a large audience. Last year, Johan was working with Sarah on City on Our Knees, and he took the initiative to kind of spearhead one in person. It was the middle of January, freezing cold, and we had about 65 people come out in person. And we're just hoping for an exponential number in a virtual summit this year. And we've been reaching out to others in some other ministries, other partner ministries, who have said that they will promote it within their networks as well. And that's just one of the things that's really on our heart, that we really want to strongly collaborate and partner with others that also minister to people in the marketplace. We know we're not the only one in Ottawa. And our newsletters, we've been trying to publicize events from other marketplace ministries. And the more people we can get engaged in all kinds of different things throughout the city, the better off that we'll be. And maybe that's it. My time is probably up, so I'm going to stop. And I will just pause and say that Doug Sprunt, who has just been amazing to work with on many of these initiatives, is going to talk to you about some of these things and other things that he's involved in. So Doug, over to you.